Hey, good morning. I am so glad to see you guys. I'm so glad you're tuning in. And I have to tell you how honored I am. The comments that I get, both in person and on Facebook and on Instagram, and the emails that I get from you guys saying that these videos help you. It just makes my day. Just a second. I'm going to turn my heater off so we've got a little slightly cleaner sound. So, what am I talking about today? So today we're going to talk about what's in the comments here. Why are procrastination and perfectionism, why are they two sides of the same coin? And a 3-step strategy about what you can do to overcome it, get moving towards a life that is more what you want. Get moving towards achieving the dreams that you've had. Get moving towards feeling more like yourself, feeling more authentic. And so the reason that this topic came up is because on Monday this week, I had a heck of a day. There's nothing wrong with my life. I've got a great life, but I was stuck in procrastination. I was spinning my wheels. For those of you guys who know me or you've heard me say it, I'm recording a course that is going to help coaches start and build their coaching practice, just to make their life easy, to give them support. It's got lots of step-by-step exactly what to do, and then a whole bunch of mindset stuff as well. Because most of the time when we're building a business, we've never done it before. And so we just run up against all those fears and expectations and those places where we just don't know what to do. We self-sabotage each other, or self-sabotage ourselves. So I was in that place on Monday, procrastinating. I was ready to start filming some of our modules that I had written, and I think I spent the entire day procrastinating until the very end of the day. And I decided that what I was going to do is just record one, just to get a start. And that made all the difference in the world. Once I had one in the can, then it was easy to do the next one and the next one and the next one. And so since Monday, I've made great progress. But it really made me think about this concept of what's procrastination and what's perfectionism. And so when I say I think that procrastination and perfectionism are two different sides of the same coin, I think what you've got is procrastination means oftentimes you put off starting. You put off starting something you know you should do, you're committed to do, maybe even something that you want to do, but you put off the starting of it. So it's like the beginning of a continuum. And then perfectionism says it's never going to be perfect. I need to make it perfect for me to finish it. So procrastination is that starting of the journey, and oftentimes starting of any step within the journey. And perfectionism says, it's not good enough yet. I can't be finished with it. Where I think this is, where I think that this really hinders us and really has an impact on our lives in the world is that so many of the things that you want to do in your life are wonderful, wonderful things. They're inspired things. Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you want to start your coaching practice. Maybe you want to quit your day job. Maybe you want to start a family. All of those things that you've got a dream about, they sit in our mind. They sit in our space. We think about them over and over and over again, something that we really want to do. But when we fall prey to procrastination and perfectionism, we never actually bring them truly into the world. So you might dream, for instance, about publishing a book. Maybe you've always wanted to write your life story or your family legacy story, and you dream about it, but then you procrastinate about the starting of the writing because you don't know exactly how you're going to do it. You've never done it before. Or you start your outline, and then now it's time to start writing the individual chapters. And for each chapter, you might run into procrastination because now you're in that starting phase again. Perfectionism says my first draft is done, it's being edited, and now it's time to get my cover designed. Now it's time to put it out there in the world. Now it's time to tell people that it's done. Now it's time to ask people to read it. And perfectionism says, oh, it's not good enough yet. You can't possibly. You need to edit it one more time. That cover isn't good enough. Maybe the structure isn't really great. Nobody's going to like it anyway. You need to make it perfect. So this place where procrastination stops you from starting and starting every step, and perfectionism says it's never going to be good enough, so don't finish it. So that's why they're kind of part of the two different sides of the same coin, if you will. At the heart, procrastination and perfectionism is our life's way of trying to keep us safe, of trying to keep us from stretching, from trying to keep us from doing something new that might be scary. So at the heart of it, there is a fear that is either wanting to hold you back from starting or wanting to hold you back from completing. So at the heart, it is a fear, but the fear is a fear of being rejected, a fear of never being good enough, a fear of not fitting in. So it's a fear of being, let me think of the word here. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's a fear of not being part of the tribe. And I think it's really common for people who want to do something big in their life or want to tackle that goal. And they're scared that somehow it's not going to work out, won't fit in, that they're not good enough. And so this underlying fear often stops us from starting or completing, right? But that dream still sits in there in your head and it won't go away. So what do? Right? So that's why I've got 3 strategies that you can use to help you overcome that procrastination and perfectionism. Let me just check my notes here. Yeah, and so the other thing that I wrote down here earlier before I came on camera was that at the heart of it, there is this fear of not being good enough, fear of other people's opinions, other people's thoughts. And so we've got no idea what anybody else thinks about us, but yet we fear it. We fear what they might think. We fear what somebody who doesn't really know us might think. We also fear somebody who is also stuck in their own fears might think of us. We have no control over what somebody else thinks, what somebody else's opinion is of us, and yet we allow that projected fear to hold us back. So let's dive into 3 ways that you can deal with procrastination and perfectionism. So I got to slip my glasses on here so I see my notes. So the 3 different ways, I'm not very good at holding my fingers up there, are accept, accountability, and anticipation. Those are my 3 steps to help you deal with both procrastination and perfectionism. So again, accept, accountability, and anticipation. So let's talk a little bit about each of them, okay? So accept is one quick word that captures the idea of accepting that you are human, accepting that you'll do the best that you can, given the resources that you have, and given where you are in your life, and to allow that is okay, and that you are enough exactly the way you are. It is accepting that what you create will be good, maybe great, and accepting that if you have that dream, it's meant to be created in this world. That there is something there that says it's up to you to bring this into your world. So accepting that you're good enough, accepting that your dream is meant to be here, accepting that what you do and what you create will be fine, will be good, and allowing yourself to be human. So that's the first A, accepting. The second A of being accountable is grab yourself an accountability partner. Grab yourself a friend, a family member, somebody that you know that you can be accountable to. It is so much more difficult to procrastinate and not finish what you say you're going to do if you've got somebody that is on side with you. They're part of your team. They're rooting for you. So grab an accountability partner and tell them what you're going to do. Do you need to be accountable for the week? Do you need to be accountable for today's actions? Depends on the size of your dream. How could you use yourself as an accountability partner as well? Can you keep a checklist? Can you track your progress? Can you track your steps and your completion? You can do that for sure. And there is something super powerful about having somebody else that you send a DM to or talk to on the phone or see and say, yep, I wrote my 2 pages today. Or, yep, I've chosen my cover design for my book today. Or, yep, I made that phone call. The person that I think would be a great coaching client, I called them to see if they'd like to chat about it. There's so much power in that accountability. And most accountability partners are really on your side. You know, they're part of your cheering squad. The most important thing about accountability, though, is that you learn the power of keeping the commitments that you make to yourself. That's a big deal. So often we will make a commitment to somebody else and we would never ever think of breaking that commitment. I gave my word. My word says I'd better do it. I'm honored to live up to that. But we easily break those commitments to ourselves. And that's where the procrastination and the perfectionism comes in and plays with your mind. Is I could do it tomorrow, maybe later. I don't really feel like it. I'm not really sure if this is the right path. It's not good enough. I'll look at it again and fine tune it again, right? So accepting, we've talked about that. The first A, the second A, accountability. The third A, anticipation. And I love this idea. I got this idea out of the book by John Acuff, Finished. And his recommendation, and I've used this myself, is to use your dream of the next thing, your anticipation of doing the next thing as your motivation to finish this task. So an example might be, maybe you want to travel to run a marathon. You want to go somewhere interesting. Maybe you want to go to Hawaii or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't know where all the marathons are held internationally, but maybe your dream is to run a marathon in Hawaii. But you've only ever run a 10K in your hometown. So before you reach your dream of the marathon in Hawaii, maybe your first dream is to actually be able to run the marathon in your hometown. And the motivation to get to that eventual dream of running in Hawaii says you can do that, but only after you've run that marathon in your hometown. So you keep that next dream alive for yourself as the motivation to get over your perfectionism and finish what you've started. So there's one example. Another example from my life is I am, like I said, I'm creating this course for coaches to start their business. And I am so keen to get that done. I'm so keen to get it out into the world. And I also want to start a podcast where I talk some, I interview some people, and we have really great, interesting conversations that help female entrepreneurs over 40 be successful in their side hustle or in their business. Now, I'm stoked about doing that podcast. And every time I start to procrastinate about my coursework that I'm creating right now, I know I can't do the podcast that I want to do until I finish this project. So every time I stumble a little bit, or I get feel like it's just not good enough, and I go back and rework it again, and something takes longer than I expect, my motivation is the next thing. So third A, anticipation. So let's quickly recap the 3 strategies that you can use to overcome procrastination and perfectionism. The first is allowing, accepting. So the first is acceptance of who you are, acceptance that you're a person, allowing yourself to be human, and accepting that if you have a dream, it's meant to be created in your life. It's meant to be lived. The second is accountability, being accountable for your word. Have an accountability partner and learn to keep your commitments to yourself. And the third is anticipation. When you get into the tough times, maybe some setbacks in bringing this current dream to life, what's the next dream that you won't let yourself start on until this one is finished? So, 3 strategies. Curious to see what you guys think about them. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And I hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you next week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.